I hope I'm clear. Welcome to GoGi's After Dinner Jam. So glad you chose to be here tonight, and I choose you back. Your free will is at stake, don't forget. So every time you get to make a choice about something, you're exercising your free will, and keep on doing it because it's our right to do so. All right. Welcome on in. This is September 10th, and we are starting early today because there is a debate tonight. Oh, yeah. It's going to be Tulsi versus Kamala Part 2. Oh, sorry. No, it is the presidential candidate debate, and that is going to be former President Trump versus Vice President Kamala Harris. All right, so we want to make sure that everybody is there, everybody's watching, and so we're going to do what we can early so that we can end in time to go to the watch party, which I'm one of the hosts, and that was the information is on TI event. It's going to be a Zoom meeting, and we're going to have that shortly after the jam. We're going to try to end early enough so that we all can get a snack, a break, or whatever, and get comfortable and listen to this debate. All right? So welcome again to the jam. So glad you chose to be here. And we're going to give everybody a chance to come in because it's a little earlier than usual. And I thank you for reading your email. Last time, everybody just came in at the regular time and missed out. So those people will be greeted with a message. Oh, yeah. And then they will be invited to the watch party. All right? But we have some good stuff planned for you tonight. So, I'm listening to Pink's message. I wanted to use her song because it's so, that line where she says, change the voices in your head. Change the voices in your head and make it something, I don't know the exact words, but make it something good about you instead. Don't think that you're less than perfect. Don't think that you're less than perfect. And some people think that they're half of a human being until they're in a relationship. So we're going to deal with those love relationships tonight a little bit. Oh, yeah, TIs have love relationships too. Yes, they do. Yes, we do. And so we're going to deal with that a little bit tonight, and we're going to dig a little into the news. And there's some things I need to mention, and then we're going to close on out and get ready for the watch party. All right, so let's get started. Here we go. I read somewhere recently that this program, this TI program, and I call it that. Some people say, I don't want to call it a program, but that's what the FBI calls it, so I'm going to call it in legal terms. And if your mic is open, please mute yourself. The program plays Cupid, which means that they can make you attracted to someone or they can make you not attracted to someone. Can you believe that? So they can go past what you really feel, your innate, attraction, and interfere with your natural inclination. So it's like a spell. It's external influence impacting some of our most intimate relationships, seemingly like it's coming from the inside, like it's natural, like it's us, but it's not. And what happens when the program is over? What happens when the program ends? Does the spell just wear off? Do we suddenly dissolve relationships, or do we continue in what started out as an experimental manipulation? Can we develop real feelings for honeypots? What are honeypots? We're going to talk about that a little later. There's much to be said about true love and true relationships. True love is like such a rare find, and it's the kind of thing that we need to protect and cherish. Such relationships have no boundaries. It's what we make of it. Whatever you decide to make of it, you can become so close as a couple that you share your day's highs and your day's lows. You cry together, laugh together, bathe together. Or you could be so distant that you sleep apart, sleep separately, in separate beds, in separate bedrooms, vacation separately, dine alone, and so forth. The point is that real love relationships are simply satisfying. The two people carve out a world to their own liking. People shouldn't criticize or judge and get involved, but they go through their own trials and tribulations until they find that comfortable spot. And it's not always so easy, and sometimes there are high highs and low lows. However, man was not meant to be alone. That's why God gave Adam Eve. Finding a mate is a very special thing. So tonight, we're going to think of all the married couples. There are some married couples where only one is targeted. Imagine that. And the other is therefore affected by the program. There are some where both are targeted, like it or not. There are unmarried couples where both or one is targeted. And then there are single TIs who want relationships because the trust, the TIs who want relationships and TIs who don't want relationship. And either way, the trust phenomenon is just out of control for us. And it's out of control not because of the TIs themselves, but because of the infiltrators and the perps that continue to move. Even in our circle, they come in and bring that evil and smear us within. And we have to be careful enough to discern who is who. And the interference is real. So as we take a look at relationships tonight, we're going to deal with honeypots. Let's also remember and appreciate real love. So that's my little preamble tonight, guys. I hope that you got something out of it, and hope that you can think of something that you can appreciate, some real true love relationships that you had or would like to have or will have in the future, and just cherish them and hold on to them. All right? So let's talk about honeypots for a minute. Let's open up with a question about them. What is the difference between what a honeypot would say and what a true love would say? All right? So when we open up, first of all, mute yourself if you have noise in your background. Second of all, please announce yourself so that we'll know that you're here, city and state you're from. And if you decide to answer the question or just give us a greeting. Okay? The question is the difference between what a honeypot would say and what a true love would say. All right, welcome to the J.A.M, everybody. Let's go. Hi. Hope you made it in today. I know we're early. Welcome to the J.A.M. Please announce yourself.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I can hear you. I hear somebody else a little louder, but go ahead, ma'am.
It's Ann from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm the state contact for Missouri.
Okay. Wait for Missouri. There's somebody who has a television or something on in their background. Can you please?
There we go.
Missouri, give us a minute, Missouri, till we find that person. Okay. It's all right. It's all good. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, GoGi's.
Hi, how are you? Is this Missouri?
Yes, this is Ann from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi.
You came to my interview several months ago when I had a speaking engagement for Victory Through V2K.
Okay, I remember. Yes, I do remember. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So, just wanted to come in and introduce myself. This is a great time to have this call.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's working great.
Okay, thank you.
So,
would you like to answer? Go ahead.
Will I answer the question? Oh, sure. Because I can relate to that, because in the initial stages when I was wondering, all right, which one of them put me in this stupid program, I had to think of the somebody that I dated, but no, that's not the case. I didn't do anything. We didn't do anything to have to have this done to us. We were non-consensual test subjects, but to get to the point, I think wouldn't the person that they're married to or living with or whatever if they're not actually a TI, wouldn't they be considered like a co-targeted individual, possibly?
Well, some TIs are some TIs are married to. If a person is, you say co-targeted, that's a new word for me, okay? But if a person is married to someone that's targeted, sometimes they target them and sometimes they don't. So sometimes they're being used by the program and sometimes they are. I would say most often they're targeted, but sometimes they don't for some reason.
Yeah, because I think it depends on what kind of list that they have you on. As for me, I can't believe they think a blind woman is a terrorist because I was born on the list. So that's pretty much kind of my take on it. Is they use them to gaslight, or you try to gaslight them, or who knows? Or it's just a lot of this is experimental, so maybe they want to see. For a lot of reasons. But am I the only one on from Missouri tonight, since I'm the state contact for Missouri?
Well, we'll let somebody answer that later. Thank you, Ann.
Okay.
Thank you for your comment. Next person, please. My pleasure. Welcome to the call, everybody. Please announce yourself, city and state you're from. And the question is, what would a honeypot say versus what would someone, a true love, say? Go ahead.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Miss Niagara Falls, New York. How are you, Sweeney?
I'm great. How are you, Miss Niagara Falls, New York?
I'm doing. Thank God for a beautiful day here in upstate New York. Sunny and beautiful. Amen. You know, when you were talking, let me just say this real quick, that when you were talking about love and relationships, you know, when people take a vow, you know, of course we know that it's better or for worse, so to speak. And a lot of times we talk about love, but as I always say, love is not something that you just say, but it's something that you do. And a lot of times we need to step back and see if our definition of what love is lines up with what God says what love is, right? His definition of what love is. And I will tell you that in this marriage that I'm in, and I will tell you it's been quite a journey, praise God, especially with me being a target individual. And it's, you know, I have to be honest and say it at times it has been hard because, as a lot of you know, my husband is not a TI and I am. In the beginning of this, before actually we had gotten remarried, I was open about everything, and I told him what I was dealing with and whatnot. And, you know, he's like, yeah. But I knew within me, Gogi, that he really didn't understand this because, you know, no matter.
Hey, Gogi, you have a lot of people in here that want to answer that question, Gogi. You have a lot in here that want to answer.
Okay, G, don't worry. We're going to get to them. Thank you. Go ahead. Sonia, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just want to briefly say that, you know, it was very hard. And, you know, especially when I was told I was lying about it and whatnot. But you know what? God is a God that the truth always comes out. The truth always resurrects itself. And I remember I had told my husband that one day God's going to show that this is real to you. And sure enough, he did. It has its trials, but as far as the love part, I would tell you, love endures all things. So the person in a spouse, even if they don't are not a target individual, they might not understand it, they still need to support their spouse that's going through this. It's so important. It really is. And love is, you know, loving a person is going through the thick and the thin, not just when it gets tough and you want to bail out and say goodbye, adios, see ya, I don't want to be ya, so to speak, but you're persevering through that. And at the end of the day, when you do that, then you know what love is all about.
All right. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much, Sister Sonia, whose calls are Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, by the way. I appreciate your honesty and sharing with that. Now, usually, as I think that's what she's getting to, this is usually a quick time where we just spin through this. However, I'm giving a little time for one reason, because it's a very sensitive issue, and it is very important. And what Sister Sharman shared, and I happen to have met her husband, is the sweetest guy. I mean, he's built boxes, the water box for her, and has been so supportive during this. And we, as TIs in love relationships, it's very hard to get somebody to believe us if it's not happening to them, and to support us. And so it's just a beautiful thing, that love thing. And I pray, marriages, any couple that's going through a hard time and you're decided to throw the towel in, I would just throw my 2 cents in and say, wait till the program is over, because so many influences are involved, more than you and your feelings for each other, that muddy up the waters, and sometimes you need to let that mud clear before making permanent decisions. So if you need to get space or whatever, fine, but really, once it's over, we're going to get to decide who we're going to allow close to us, who we're going to push back. We're going to reposition relationships. There's some people we ain't never speaking to again, and there's some people that we're going to want to bring closer, saying thank you for stepping away, or thank you for what you said. All right, it's your time on the floor, so please go ahead, announce yourself, city and state you're from. What would a honeypot versus true love say, or anything that you want to share about the love relationship? Go ahead, and thank you again, Sister Sonia. G said everybody want to talk. That's
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Oh, hi. So I think the difference between a honeypot and with a romantic partner. So somebody mentioned manipulation versus motivation, and I agree with them. I think honeypots basically are in it for maybe financial reasons or other types of reasons. And motivation is like they're there to give you motivation and to help you and grow. I'm a TI, and I'm in a relationship actually, and it was kind of difficult to get my partner to believe me at first, but I think over time, as I showed him like the events and the people and the experiences, then he began to believe me. And it's been a journey trying to get him to be passionate about targeted justice as much as me.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it is. I'm glad you also, so you and Sister Sonia were able to prevail, and so good for both of you. I'm supposing there's a real love at the core of your relationships, and it's a wonderful thing. So thank you. Go ahead. Next person, please.
Hello, my name is Brandon. I'm a targeted individual. I'm the one that wrote that manipulation versus motivation. I've been targeted by honeypots a few times. My last one went and picked me up out of state, and when she picked me up, she said, "I'm kidnapping you." Was trying to keep me drunk. I told her to go get a couple shots at the store one time, and she came in with a bottle and said, "I'm going to destroy you." Anyway, she's gone. I'm sober. I met another one that knows that this is real. I'm showing her the video. We have mutual friends that are targeted also, and they followed her home from my apartment in a white truck, blacked out windows, tailgated her, got in front of her car, started hitting the brakes. So now I just, every time she leaves, I stay on the phone because it's conversation. But she motivates me. I don't believe she's part of the program. I've let her know about it. She believes me. We recently got gym memberships together. We've been working out together. Really good girl, and I love her. See what happens, but I do firmly believe it's not a honeypot. If you feel like you're in a relationship where you're being manipulated or used, or they're doing the psychological, like messing with you, or hand movements that make you feel uncomfortable, or doing the double talk, saying one thing that means something else. Chances are that's a honeypot. But if you're with someone who genuinely loves you, that you ask, hey, do you have any ulterior motives, and that's their reaction, that likes to motivate you, and you guys motivate each other, then your chances are you're in good hands. So that's all I got. Thanks for letting me share, and thanks for having a meeting tonight. Look forward to seeing you guys on the presidential debate watching party. My name is Brandon. I'm a targeted individual. Love, peace, and happiness.
Thank you. Wow. You were so loud and clear at the beginning, and then you dropped down, but my God, what you said was so deep and so relevant. Thank you so much. And basically, guys, if you feel like you're being manipulated, his words are, if you feel like you're being manipulated or they're making you feel uncomfortable, then most likely you're in a relationship with a honeypot, okay? So slip away. Slink away if possible, all right? But thank you so much for that, because you can find true love. I love the fact that you all have mutual friends that are targeted. Love it. Thank you so much for commenting, sir, Brandon, and I appreciate that. Next caller, please.
Hey, everyone, it's Chris. I just wanted to put out there, I've been targeted with my ex-wife for about 15, 20 years or so. And the biggest part of the honeypot, that when you get involved with the honeypot looks at you as a prize to be won. So every move that they make is like you're having to place them on a pedestal and do everything for that person. Only later in life you'll learn to regret those decisions and those opportunities. That's something I've learned in my life. And my ex-wife, and she's always been involved with my targeting, and I've gone most of my life of just ignoring, but directly involved. So you have to learn your own capability. But I wanted to toss that out there. Most honeypots are going to be placing themselves as better above you because they have that support. That's all.
Thank you for that, Chris. So whenever they put themselves on a pedestal and put you down, they're most likely a honeypot. I mean, there are people that's their personality, but hey, look at. I love the list that we're creating right here. And if let's say we heard 5 things, if 4 out of 5 are true, well, you know. If 3 out of 5 are true, well, you know. Okay? All right. Okay. So I'm trying to eliminate the noise coming from my line. All right, guys. So, all right, here we go. Next caller. We'll take 1 or 2 more, and then we're going to dive into the news.
Hi, GoGi. This is Eileen.
Hi. Hi, Eileen.
Hi. I'm a targeted individual. I'm in Florida, and I moved from New Jersey recently to Florida. I wanted to share with everyone my experience, which started with POF, Plenty of Fish, because I'm single. I'm 66 going on 67, and my targeting has been about dating, and I have absolutely no interest in dating at this age, but I feel like my targeting is for somebody who's 25 years old, looking to get married, looking to date, looking for, I don't know, just somebody else other than me. So if I spend time with married people, it's okay. But if I go out to a singles event, because I'm now in a 55-plus community, they put my targeting has to do with fat. Every 5 minutes I have a different fat deposit somewhere in my body. It's constantly moving around, constantly changing. And that's just the premise of my targeting. So every time I go out to a singles event, even if it's just with women, they put a lot of fat in my body. If I have a party, they put a lot of fat on my body, and it's just very disconcerting. So I just wanted to share that with people. That's been my experience. The other thing is they told me that if I do end up dating somebody, it's going to be someone who is going to take my house or want to take from me things, my possessions. So I just wanted to share that with the group because that could happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for that. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Thank
How are
you for your comments. Fine, ma'am. Go ahead.
Sorry. This is my first time up on here. I'm from D.C., Washington, D.C.
Okay.
My name is Sharice Morgan.
Hi, Sharice. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. So right now, you heard the question?
No, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we're doing a brief intro, just saying the difference between a honeypot. I'm not sure about your experience and knowledge of the word honeypot versus true love.
Okay.
So answer that, and then we're going to keep going. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound, but what is a honeypot? Like, this is my first.
Okay. Are you a new TI? Yeah?
Yes, I am. You know what? I've been going through this for like maybe 4 years now. Until this is the first year I actually put a name to it.
Okay. So listen, I need you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. You'll find out a little later what a honeypot is versus true love. But right now, we're just saying hello, and we're going to move right into the program. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
But welcome to the J.A.M, Sharice.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else, next caller? Or else we're going to move right into the news.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, my name's Nathan. I'm from PA. I've been a TI since January 18th of this year.
Hi, Nathan.
Hey, how you doing? So my stuff started out like in person, but I've moved away from the area, so now it's mostly just constant B2K, microwave pulses, sleep disruption, and like central nervous system manipulation with different frequencies.
Okay, Nathan. So we're answering the question. I'm sorry. What it is, and this is great. The J.A.M has moved its time tonight, so we got a lot of newbies, which is wonderful. Welcome, guys. And so I know a lot of calls will go into what's going on, but right now we're answering the question, honeypot versus true love, and then we're going to go right into the news, and we're going to come back in a little bit with some Q&A. So
okay. I'd say mostly like it'd be like manipulation, like hot and cold, all or nothing, things that really that interfere with what you would do in a way that kind of takes away and mutes what you would be doing without like incorporating it. And that's my answer.
Wow, that was good. Thank you. Hot and cold interferes with what you're doing and manipulation. I love it. Thank you so much, Nathan. You just gave us a honeypot motives and what they do in a nutshell. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. I think we're going to close it down. Let's go ahead and get into the news because we're trying to end early enough for everybody to watch this debate. It's going to be fascinating, to say the least, don't you think? All right. Here we go. Thank you for sharing. I just have to say that, when we share from our heart and talk about love and relationships, there's intimacy involved and vulnerability involved. So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing and being honest and giving true experiences and thoughts about honeypots versus true love. All right, so now we're going to get into the news, and I'm going to share the first article. So the first article that I thought may be pertinent to us is how a leading chain of psychiatric hospitals traps patients. And the reason I'm saying this is because maybe we want to stay away from anything called ACADIA. I'm pronouncing it Acadia Healthcare. And it's from the New York Times. It says, Acadia Healthcare is holding people against their will to maximize insurance payouts. This is a Times investigation found. This is September 1st, 2024. The authors are Jessica Silver Greenberg and Katie Thomas. Acadia Healthcare is one of America's largest chains of psychiatric hospitals. Since the pandemic exacerbated a national mental health crisis, was it the pandemic that did it? Okay, the company's revenue has soared. Its stock price has more than doubled. But a New York Times investigation found that some of that success was built on a disturbing practice. Acadia has lured patients into its facilities and held them against their will, even when detaining them was not medically necessary. In at least 12 of the 19 states where Acadia operates psychiatric hospitals, dozens of patients, employees, and police officers have alerted authorities that the company was detaining people in ways that violated the law. According to records reviewed by the Times, in some cases, judges have intervened to force Acadia to release patients. Some patients arrived at emergency rooms seeking routine mental health care, only to find themselves sent to the facilities and locked in. A social worker spent 6 days inside an Acadia hospital in Florida after she tried to get her bipolar medications adjusted. A woman who works at a children's hospital was held for 7 days after she showed up at an Acadia facility in Indiana looking for therapy. And after police officers raided in the Acadia hospital in Georgia, 16 patients told investigators that they had been kept there with no excuses or valid reasons, according to a police report. Acadia held all of them under laws meant for people who pose an imminent threat to themselves or others, but none of the patients appeared to have met that legal standard, according to records or interviews. Most doctors agree that people in the throes of a psychological crisis must sometimes be detained against their will to stabilize them and prevent harm. These can be tough calls, balancing patients' safety with their civil rights. But at Acadia, patients were often held for financial reasons rather than medical ones, according to more than 50 current and former executives and staff members. Acadia, which charges $2,200 a day for some patients, at times deploys an array of strategies to persuade insurers to cover longer stays, employees said. Acadia has exaggerated patient symptoms. It has tweaked medication dosages, then claimed patients needed to stay longer because of the adjustment. And it has argued that patients are not well enough to leave because they did not finish a meal. Okay, so I'm not going to read the rest. It's pretty long, but it's very interesting. If you'd like to read it, it's in the New York Times, dated September 1st, and I gave you the author's name. We have found 3 states that I named. What was it? Georgia. I'm going to name 2 of them. Georgia. Oh, my goodness. Let me get Georgia, Florida, and Indiana. So those are 3, and they said it was in like 16 states. So check it out and stay away. All right, we already know that it's easy for a TI to be misdiagnosed. We know that in Florida, the Baker Act is real and prevalent, and there are other states, so be careful where you live and what you say and how you function and what you do, because we don't want to be misdiagnosed or held without our consent. All right, so that is article number 1. And the second one, a lot is happening in New York. So I heard of things happening with the mayor and some of the high-ranking officers and officials in New York. That's not what we're talking about. So we want to talk about these towers. So let me see where it starts. I want to start at the beginning, right? There are a lot of 5G towers being all over the place, but in New York, the officials are fighting back. Here we go. New York City's officials and residents fight back. Elected officials and numerous New Yorkers are standing up against the installation of giant 32-foot 5G towers across the city. New York Congressman Gerald Nadler, along with Assembly members and New York Council members, has taken a strong stance against the jumbo design. In a letter sent in June of 2024, they requested a reconsideration of these towering structures, which are planned to be placed as close as 10 feet from, and of course I have this little smiley thing on top of that word, potentially just 10 feet from bedrooms and living spaces. The plan to erect over 2,000 jumbo 5G poles has ignited fury among New Yorkers. 16 community boards across the city have issued disapprovals or moratoriums on the installations. Community Board 8, which includes areas of Upper East Side of Manhattan and Roosevelt Island, was the structures which are planned to be placed was the first to pass a 5G moratorium in 2022. Since then, 15 more community boards have followed suit, voicing their disapproval. Okay. I'm going to jump around a bit to name some of the other cities in numerous urban areas. San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Chicago, for instance, have all experienced public outcry and regulatory hurdles as they navigate the complexities of 5G tower installation. New Yorkers aren't the only ones fighting back. Citizens in Miami-Dade County also voiced their concerns over potential installation of a jumbo tower in their city, that's just one, and others in Mississippi also. Okay. So these are the potential health risks. Now, I know that there was a lawsuit that won against a tower that was going to be put right outside of a school. There was a gentleman that got everyone in his city to stop with the LED lights. And there's a city in Connecticut where they won't have 5G towers at all, 5G at all. So people are fighting back with 5G towers, which is great. I mean, there was a lot of pushback with the rollout itself, but the rollout went forward. But now here is samples of the health risks. Potential health risks of jumbo 5G towers. As cities consider installing jumbo 5G towers, concerns about potential health risks have emerged. These towers operate at higher frequencies than previous wireless networks, resulting in increased electromagnetic field exposure due to their closer proximity to homes and workplaces. Here are the key health concerns. Cancer risk. Some studies suggest a possible link between long-term EMF exposure and an increased risk of cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, has classified radio frequency, EMF, as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Sleep and mental health. EMF exposure has been associated with sleep disruptions and adverse mental health effects. Okay. All right. So, including, headaches, fatigue, and anxiety. Children and vulnerable populations. Children and individuals with pre-existing health conditions are considered more susceptible to potential EMF-related health issues, and electromagnetic hypersensitivity, EHS. Some individuals report symptoms like skin rashes and muscle pain due to EMF exposure. So the scientific company remains divided on the extent of these health risks. Okay, and then they talk about how to protect yourself, move further away, meaning move further away from the EMF, like use your speakerphone when talking on a cell phone, keep devices away from you when you aren't using them. When you're not using the device, turn it off. Devices that rely on Wi-Fi are emitting EMF even when they're not in use. Turn the Wi-Fi router off at night and when not in use. Reduce the amount of non-essential time spent on devices. Invest in proven, researched EMF protection technology such as, and you might want to look this up, Aries Tech LifeTune devices to add a layer of protection wherever you go. Okay. All right. So once again, we want to talk about that pushback because, you know, they're trying to get 5G everywhere. Getting 5G everywhere is not being TI friendly. Okay. That is an adverse thing to TIs. All right. Let's take a look at, let's have an audio. We're going to deal with some TIs. Oh, my God. I was so proud of these TIs that visited, and this is some time ago, but I think it's important and relevant because we're talking about going to visit legislators in different states. We're talking about presenting letters and making stands and so forth. So these TIs did it. They went to the Bioethics Commission meeting, and if you see the video, when they came in, you could tell something was getting ready to happen, okay? But I love the way they presented, and one of them is our very own. I was surprised to see Liliana there, and my God, you did a fantastic job. So let's take a listen, this clip, and hear these 3 TIs, and if you can see it, it's even better because you can see the uncomfortability of the board that has to address them, and they really want to close out the meeting, but these TIs are not backing down. All right, go ahead.
I might pick, there's a woman right behind you, we'll take you also. Why don't we do these last 2 questions, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Liliana Connor, and I have also been subjected to these technologies. I think that the Commission is studying the issue of informed consent, and that is a right, a human right that we all should have, even if these are classified operations. All persons should have the right of informed consent so that they could either decline participating in such studies or otherwise opt out if they're informed at a later date that they have been subjected to these studies. And non-consensual experimentation is a total violation of human rights. It should be outlawed, any non-consensual experimentation. People should not have to be subjected like this, and it would be important if you could recommend to President Obama to change the regulation of informed consent to include even classified operations on persons, and to outlaw and forever ban any non-consensual experimentation in the United States.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, I did not get your name. Liliana Connor. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Letitia Peters. I'm Trenton, New Jersey. I spoke last time in March, and since then, my life has gone downward. And it's a shame that we are Americans, and we just want to be treated like Americans. And we are part of a non-consensual human experimentation, which uses highly advanced electronic technology. without our informed consent or knowledge. And we are speaking for thousands of American citizens. We do not want an apology. We want justice, and we want justice now. I am requesting that the Presidential Commission conduct an investigative hearing on non-consensual human experimentation, and I do have credible evidence. I'm submitting 1,158 videos and pictures that's been occurring for the last 2 years. I'm also presenting 10 attachments, which includes my 14-page public comment, plus Robert S. public comments, testimonies from Queen Ottawa, 3 pages of testimony for Cindy Goldman. I actually have a 16-page letter from Japan for the Technological Crime Victims Network. Also, I have a prayer because we really need prayer. This country needs prayer because so many people have died or lost their lives, and we just want justice. And I just would like to come forward to submit all this information.
Please feel free to give it to Val right here. I think with that we do need to wrap. It's difficult to know how to respond to this session. Obviously, there is deep concern and from the
Please, I'm begging you, get over intimidation brought down on you by this cartoon.
Thank you all for your input.
Did you ever receive my letter?
We really...
You received my letter, please.
Yeah, we did.
I would like to have the answer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We do have...
You received my letter?
Yes. Yes.
You received?
Yes.
What do you do in this regard, huh? You received my phone call, huh?
Hold on just a moment. Just please, sir. Why don't your name, sir? I'm sorry. Edward. Why don't we if we can, I was just going to say, if I would allow some time to let you finish, and if I could indulge, if the commission would indulge a little extra time in our agenda, will that satisfy your need? Thank you, sir. You have a minute and a half, please.
Could we ask other people to...
We need others to be seated, though, please. Everyone seated. And I'm sorry. Okay, well, you need a microphone. We need the microphone to you. You have it?
But you were trying to talk to me.
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry. I had asked you, please, to... I was happy to give you time in front of the commission. It doesn't sound like that's what you want.
I won't.
Okay, why don't you take the microphone, and we'll give you a minute and a half like everyone else. He needs a microphone so he can have a record. And please give us your name again.
My name is Edward Katz.
Edward
from Palo Alto, California.
Okay. Calmly, please. Tell us your story or tell us your comment, please.
We did send a name Mrs. Amy Goodman.
Okay.
A horrifying letter, actually supported by the video statement.
Oh, my.
This video statement shows up acts of physical torture by use of brain implants. All my family received while we moved to Bay Area, California, and settled right next to the Stanford Research, including my children. 2 boys been implanted in optic nerves, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Mrs. Barbara Boxer requested headquarters FBI to provide information in this regard, and FBI told us what we are under experiment. Then in the Department of Justice, Mr. Holder told us what we have to learn how to live with that, with torture. And this is on tape. And Mrs. Gottman has this tape, and we beg you so many times, please, call Obama, stop torture. Obama can stop torture. Did you call? Did you call Obama? We're asking you, stop torture. Physical torture, please.
Yeah, please.
We need human torture. Just take a look at this picture, people.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Especially we came from Soviet Union. Especially we came from the communist bloc and here for the freedom and what they did to my face.
It's a horrific, obviously horrific story, and we think we.
Yeah, those TIs were not backing down that day. They were going to make sure they were heard, especially Edward. Okay, Liliana spoke first, and then I think her name was Letitia, and then you heard a little scuttlebutt. You know, they were going back and forth a little bit. You could see the board was obviously uncomfortable, and they were trying to end, but Edward had not been heard, and he had his plea in there. So this was during Obama's administration, and they were calling for them to stop the torture. And he had something on tape from one of the alphabet suits, so he wanted to make sure it was heard, acknowledged, and that and recognized. All right, so there we have that. I did have something. I'm going to share that next week for the sake of time, from the federal air marshals. As you know, what's going on with Tulsi, we're going to hear a little clip from her later. But the air marshals themselves, remember, these are expert marksmen, and they're used to getting on the plane and making sure that there's no terrorist activity. There was a time when planes used to be hijacked and so forth. That's their job. That's what they're trained for. And so to follow around an infant, or following around a Tulsi, or following around a J6er while he goes to brush his teeth, or or whatever, that's not what they're trained to do. They're overtrained for that. So there's pushback from their association. So we want to delve into that a little bit, because all of that helps us, because when they start unraveling what's going on with the quiet skies, what are they going to get to? The TSDB, where we're listed in the the non-specified subject. So I'm not saying the word right, I know, but all right. So, let me stick to what's on my agenda. The next thing, let's take a minute, take a commercial break here, and then we'll come back. We want to follow up with something with the Moors. We talked about, let's hear the first one first. Let's hear the first clip. Last week we talked about Corey Cobb Bay, and that is the one who, unfortunately we believe he was a targeted individual because he was being followed by drones and police officers, unmarked cars, and so forth. And he ended up doing the unthinkable. What we tell ourselves to stay tempered and remember what they want us to do and not do that. And yet he ended up shooting a police officer. So our hearts go to the police officer and to Corey. So now this is a clip from the Moor. So he was a Moor, and we're going to listen to what he says about what the other Moor says, because he wore a fez. So, as Jewish people wear a yarmulke, this is their part of their religion or cultural. This is what they follow. They wear a fez, and so people wear things on their head to show respect for their own beliefs. And so the others were saying that they don't want to be associated with this. So they wanted to make it clear what their religion represents. So let's play that clip, please, about Corey and the Moors.
Driving through Dallas, a burgundy fez on his head, Corey Cobb Bay believes he's being followed.
You see, there's some demons, you see? They right there, just following me for no reason. Like these demons to the pay, bro. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, bro. I hadn't been in contact with them, goodness, in over 7 years.
Today, another man in a matching fez.
Horrific incident, a tragic incident.
Asked for a chance to respond.
It leaves you numb. It leaves you in a state of confusion. Why would this happen? Why did this happen?
Marcus Molden Bay represents the Moorish Science Temple of America, a religious group with the words Bay or El added to their names, recognizing a Moroccan heritage.
We're Moorish Americans. We're law-abiding citizens.
He says the gunman who executed Officer Darren Burks, then died in a hail of bullets several miles later, was not one of his true faith.
Our core principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
The Southern Poverty Law Center has classified an offshoot of Moorish sovereign citizens as an extremist anti-government group. Investigators, including the ATF, are tracking where Cobb Bey got his guns. We are still trying to get those answers, too. But Mark, who says he did meet the alleged gunman a few times several years ago, now fears just the appearance of a man in a burgundy fez will cause alarm for citizens and police.
So it is important for me to let the city that I come from, the city that I love, the city that I'm here working in, know we do not at all encourage or support those actions.
Actions that a city, a police force, and a small religious community are trying to understand.
Thank you, Lady T. Thank you. So, yeah, the Moors who, because Corey wore the fez and there are other Moors, they want to make it clear that they do not support or condone that kind of behavior. And, you know, I understand them making that statement. So, but what also needs to happen is the father, the family, they need to know what Corey was going through, and not that it excuses what he did, but he was asking for help, and he himself did not understand what he was going through. So I think it's important that the family does. All right, so let's take a commercial break and hear what the police officer said, because they also believe there's need for investigation. All right, go ahead with the commercial, please.
Are you feeling like something strange is happening in your life? You tell others, but nobody believes you? Well, get ready to uncover the truth with GoGi Justice's groundbreaking book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual. GoGi Justice, an everyday person just like you, has written a book that exposes the covert illegal activities happening right under our noses. With a writing style that's raw, honest, and relatable, GoGi takes you on a journey through the dark world of targeted individuals. You'll ask yourself if you are experiencing these signs. Learn about infiltration, gang stalking, privacy violations, and even hacked home appliances. GoGi's book is a beacon of hope, providing encouragement, tips, and resources for those who find themselves trapped in this nightmare. It's time to fight back and regain control of your life. So if you're tired of feeling isolated, unheard, and targeted, grab a copy of GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual. Available now on Amazon.com and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. Don't let them silence you any longer. Take the first step towards understanding, empowerment, and freedom. Get your copy today and join the movement. GoGi Justice's book, A Voice for the Targeted Individuals.
Okay, all right. I hope you get your book, because Christmas is coming up. Someone did call me with a nice order, and I hopefully can autograph them so she can get them out. All right, guys. Let's go. The next part of the Corey Cobb Bey follow-up, and I want to thank T.I. Lynn and T.I. Mapp for sharing the information last week about Corey. I'll have them follow up soon. We know that things take a long time when there is crime involved, so I don't believe the family has moved forward with any procedures yet. But this is also an interesting clip, and then we have one more. We want to hear from Tulsi, and then we're going to invite our guest to speak. All right. Go ahead, please, Lady T.
Video posted 4 days ago on Cobb Bey's apparent Facebook page shows him approaching the door of what appears to be an unmarked police car. Is there any problem, officer?
There's no real motivation here that seems apparent.
Tom Petrowski is an assistant professor of criminology at Tarleton State University who spent decades at the FBI. He looked through some of Cobb Bey's posts and says the investigators will be looking at them too.
We'll do obviously a very robust deep dive into his online presence and social media contacts, everywhere he's been on his computer, who he's talking to.
In a news conference, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia said the department is investigating Cobb's online presence and beliefs.
Yes, there's evidence that he's part of this Moorish sovereign citizen. We're less than 24 hours into this, and so that will come out. We're scouring through social media to see if we can find anything that's similar to some sort of type of manifesto.
The Southern Poverty Law Center said some members of the group have engaged in confrontations with law enforcement.
It is not clear from the social media posts whether Kaveh viewed himself as a member of that or any other ideological group.
Okay, thank you. So they are investigating, reviewing his social posts. They don't understand why he went from 0 to 180, because in other clips, it shows that he calmly went up to unmarked cars to find out why they were there. So, and they have not released the body cam that shows what happened with this particular officer. All right, so that's just something that we're following because we believe he is a TI or was a TI. All right, so let's take a break. Let's hear the announcement, and then we're going to go into Tulsi. All right. Let's go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Week in TI Events. We've got a great lineup of events and opportunities for our community this week, so let's dive right in. Starting with Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, tune in for a time of intercession with the TI's conference call featuring special guest Dave Case, inventor of the anti-tinnitus B2K Shield CD. He'll be unveiling a brand new product, so if you want to know what it is, be sure to join the call, which will be hosted by Sister Samia. Next up on Saturday morning, don't miss the Targeted Justice Houston TI meeting from 9 to 11 a.m. Central at Onion Creek Restaurant. This long-running in-person TI meeting takes place every second Saturday and is a great opportunity to connect with fellow TIs. Looking ahead, GoGi is launching a new resource directory to help TIs find essential services like food, free phones, and more. She's gathering information for the J.A.M resource book, so if you know of any services such as soup kitchens or shelters, please send the details to the J.A.M resource book at proton.me. If you're wondering whether you might be a targeted individual, check out GoGi's book, GoGi's 10 Signs Which Indicate You're a Targeted Individual, available on Amazon and the Targeted Justice Etsy shop. Don't forget to stay updated with Targeted Justice by following them on Rumble. Just type Real Targeted Justice into the search bar and hit follow. While you're there, be sure to check out the new TI World Day video, a documentary featuring testimonies from TIs worldwide. We're grateful to our very own attorney Anna Toledo and Ortain for putting together this impactful video. And of course, keep up with GoGi Justice on TikTok and YouTube for the latest updates. Let's make sure everyone in our community knows about the TI events and resources available. Please share TIevents.org on social media and in your conversations. A heartfelt thank you to those who've been promoting it on conference calls. Your efforts are truly making a difference. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and a special thanks to GoGi for allowing me to share these announcements. Remember to sign up for email updates at TIevents.org so you never miss a beat. Until next time, this is Tranquility signing off and sending you all waves of positivity. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Tranquility. And don't forget that we have a watch party tonight because, again, we're going to watch Tulsi versus Kamala Part 2. No, that's not what we're watching. We're going to watch the presidential debate, and that is really former President Trump versus Vice President Kamala Harris. And so we get to hear their views and see, who is going to be most TI-friendly. That's who I'm voting for anyway. Okay, so anyway, here we go. We wanted to hear, Tulsi had a clip on X, that I thought was really good on Twitter. And let's hear that before and then I have a few things to mention. All right, so are we ready for that, Lady T? And then we'll get. Okay.
Congressional Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government launched an investigation into the TSA's clearly politically motivated actions against me to expose the truth. I am not the only political dissident the Harris-Biden regime is targeting. On Saturday, Christmas Eve of 2022, the IRS opened an investigation into independent journalist Matt Taibbi, just 3 weeks after he began publishing the Twitter files, which exposed the truth about the Democrats' collusion with Twitter to censor Americans online. They sent IRS agents unannounced to Matt Taibbi's home at the very moment he was testifying before the Select Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, where he was warning the American people and members of Congress about the collusion between government and private enterprise to silence and censor Americans.
We learned Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other companies developed a formal system for taking in moderation requests from every corner of government, from the FBI, the DHS, the HHS, DOD, the Global Engagement Center at State, even the CIA. For every government agency scanning Twitter, there were perhaps 20 quasi-private entities doing the same thing. A focus of this fast-growing network, as Mike noted, is making lists of people whose opinions, beliefs, associations, or sympathies are deemed misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. That last term is just a euphemism for true but inconvenient. Undeniably, the making of such lists is a form of digital McCarthyism.
Now, to take these extreme measures, you might imagine, well, hey, maybe Matt failed to file his taxes, or maybe he owed the IRS and the government a lot of money. No, that wasn't the case. The government actually owed him a lot of money. This was a case of retaliation and harassment, hoping that if they bullied and harassed him enough, he might stop exposing the truth. He did not. That same year, the Harris-Biden regime also targeted former FBI Special Agent Steve Friend. Friend blew the whistle on the politicization of the FBI and the deployment of SWAT using extreme tactics to go after opponents of the Harris-Biden administration and their policies. Defying the Whistleblower Protection Act, the FBI wasted no time in retaliating against him.
The FBI weaponized the security clearance processes to facilitate my removal from active duty within 1 month of my disclosures. In addition to an indefinite unpaid suspension, the FBI initiated a campaign of humiliation and intimidation to punish and pressure me to resign. In violation of HIPAA, individuals at the FBI leaked my private medical information to a reporter at the New York Times. I pray that all members consider the information I and my fellow whistleblowers present. You may think I'm a political partisan. You may think I am a grifter. You may think I'm a conspiracy theorist. It does not matter. Simply put, this committee should avoid the temptation to impugn the character and the motivations of the messengers seated before you.
Now, Terry Turchi, the FBI's first head of counterterrorism and a retired agent with over 30 years of frontline service in the FBI, stood up for Steve Friend's character and integrity, along with over 30 other FBI agents. Turchi said, quote, "The FBI has been collapsed into nothing more than a police agency for the Democratic Party. Many of us feel that over the decades, we've seen the complete compromise of the Bureau. Now, sometimes the Harris-Biden administration uses their friends in the mainstream media to do their dirty work for them. Emmy Award-winning reporter Catherine Herridge, known for her in-depth reporting on the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop, faced multiple roadblocks by her higher-ups in her reporting at CBS. Yet she persevered. She stuck with the story. And shortly after being fired in what CBS called part of a major downsizing, CBS confiscated all of her notes, files, and reporting records in an unprecedented act that Catherine called journalistic rape.
When the network of Walter Cronkite seizes your reporting files, including confidential source information, that is an attack on investigative journalism. When my records were seized, I felt it was a journalistic rape.
Nothing short of political retaliation that, according to Catherine, her sources were deeply afraid of. Quote, multiple sources said they were concerned that by working with me to expose government corruption and misconduct, they would be identified and exposed.
All right.
I'm not done, guys.
In 2017, President Trump questioned the credibility of the FBI as they investigated him based on accusations of Russian collusion that the FBI already knew were false. Senator Chuck Schumer issued a chilling warning about what happens when someone dares to challenge the intelligence community.
To take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were...
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about
them.
J. Trump. They're waging this lawfare on multiple fronts, coming up with trumped-up charges in the hopes that they could throw him in a jail cell before voters have a chance to head to the polls and vote for him. Whether through the Quiet Skies secret domestic terror watch list, the Patriot Act being used to illegally surveil Americans, the IRS's targeting of conservatives, FBI SWAT teams kicking down the doors of peaceful pro-life protesters, FISA's illegal and warrantless surveillance of American citizens, and the FBI's targeting and watching quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics as potential threats, the list goes on and on. The bottom line is, everyday Americans are being watched and spied on by our own government. Why?
That's not what we're going to put it. I'm going to stop it there.
Yes, good part to stop it at. Everyday Americans are being watched and spied on by their own government. That's us. Why? Because what? We're domestic terrorists, and I know we want to get to the part about the electronic harassment, the gang stalking and all that, but we need it out there that we're being spied on, that we are being that we're on a list, as is Tulsi. She's on Quiet Skies, part of the TSCB, and we're in handling codes 3 and 4, non-investigative subjects. I couldn't think of that word before. And so it's coming out. They are targeting the right people to help us. And so we are excited about what's going to happen soon. And so everybody just hold on, do what you can, hold on, hold tight, because our time is coming. Vindication is coming, freedom is coming, recompense is coming, everything that we can imagine and more is coming. So it's going to be a big fallout. I want to mention that, we were talking about doing some action, taking some action, doing some homework, writing some judges. I'm working with T.I. Lynn on that, so when we get somewhere, when we get to a place, I will present it to you so we can get ready for that. There are people that have been talking to me about giving out flyers. I know I call him my brother, he's giving out flyers in Connecticut, like 1,000 a week. Someone else in Houston, MAP, is working on flyers here. We have a group, I'm not at liberty to say what we're working on, but Maria's going to head that up. So we have a group of people that are getting ready to do some things. I know there's a group that wants to do something with the car signs, and also PETA. We want to get a message to PETA about what they're doing to our animals. And we want to start some other things. So we're going to get more into that. I do want to mention, I spoke to Dr. Bear, I heard from Dr. Bear by text, and he has a civilian registry for anyone who has already been diagnosed with Havana syndrome. If you have, please email me as well at the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, as we have a nice group that we meet and talk and support one another. And he's collecting the names and information for everyone who is diagnosed, because he's working on something, and I'm sure it's going to be something good, something big. So if you want to be a part of it, if you already have your diagnosis, he's asking that you complete a form and send the first page without your identifying information. It will not transfer any authority to him, and it does not violate your HIPAA, the HIPAA laws. So please do participate, and you can check it out on targetedjustice.com. All right. So I think I've mentioned everything I needed to mention tonight. And now we can turn our attention to our special guest so that we can be timely. Good. Oh, okay. All right. So our guest tonight is going to be introduced by Sir Dan. Can you please?
All right. Autumn Mattox is originally from Texas, but she has moved to California in January. Autumn is a survivor of B2K, gang stalking, manipulation of data, which is the theft of identity and material possessions, and a smear campaign that has ruined her lifetime relationships based on lies. Autumn suffers daily from the technology that has plagued her life for over a decade. Autumn decided to become an advocate on a volunteer basis to others who have suffered from the same as she has. She is dedicated to helping others get grounded like she is and to bring hope back into their lives that are full of despair.
Thank you so much, Sir Dan. And Autumn Mattox, are you there?
I am so here, GoGi, and that was a great introduction, Sir Dan. Thank you.
You're awesome, Autumn. You too, GoGi.
Thank you so much.
You know we love you, Dan.
Absolutely.
I'm mailing off a package to you tomorrow for GoGi. She sent it with me for you.
Love you as well.
All right.
Honey.
It was a pleasure meeting you both. So, okay, Autumn, we heard a little bit about you, and now you know the theme for tonight is about honeypots. So we're going to get back into that, and then we're going to, close out at a decent time. But let's talk a little bit. I'm going to give two, and maybe you could give whatever signs or indicators of honeypots that you can, and this will help people with relationships. Okay? So one thing, and I think it was addressed earlier, but they were talking about making you feel uncomfortable, but they do annoying things too that they know annoy you. Even though you express that they annoy you, they continue to do these annoying things. And they guard their phone. So their phone is, they stay with their phone a lot. They guard their phone a lot. Oftentimes they have two phones, and but their main phone is priceless. It's treated like pearl, like gold. So those are my two signs. And Autumn, you can share your experiences and just go have at it, my dear.
I would be more than happy to do that. And by the way, GoGi, thank you so much for being such a wonderful hostess to me the last 2 days. You made my life so much brighter.
Thank
so much
you.
brighter.
Oh,
I absolutely adore you, and I adore your beautiful son. Beautiful
Thank
people.
You so much. Thank you so much.
When it comes to the honeypot, I have been. I think I struck out. Shall I say? I had the non-biological father of my daughter, who I was married to for 9 years, who, while I was being targeted during this period of time, I lost my vision. I spent years in the hospital, and while I was in the hospital, they found out what my net worth was, and started transferring things out of my bank account because, I was the one with the money. I was the one that had inheritance. I didn't know it at the time because I was basically in and out of the hospital on and off for 9 years while I was married to him. And I went from bad to worse because after I was coerced into attempted suicide a couple of times with my ex-husband and daughter, I moved in with a man who I thought was going to be my rock, and he ended up using me financially to pay his house payments, be his maid. At first it was like, oh, I'm going to be here for you. Here's this blind woman, half blind, that has been sick for years and had money, and he had nothing. And he was also, drugs come into it. And back then, Drugs were a pertinent part of that lifestyle in Dallas, Texas, and it was a negative thing to be involved in. I have not been around that lifestyle whatsoever. I found God in my life. I found strength in my life. But the signs you need to look for are the constant lies, like during COVID, to say that you're going to work at Chamberlain Roofing, and come to find out that Chamberlain Roofing was not open during those days. And you're having voice to skull done on you, and it's constant. It's torture. It's degrading. They degrade your body. They call you toothless. They call you've got flab on your body. Oh, I like brunettes. I don't like blondes. Things of that sort. Just little things that make you feel like you're less than. And when they try to make you feel like you're less than, and then this voice to skull crap started on me so strongly that, and I was at that time at least 3/4 blind. And I had these voices coming to me, but it was the voice of a dead father. It was the voice of a dead mom. It was the voice of ex-lovers that are still alive. And they were bringing up things, everything in my life that they were, bringing up something about abortion. They were bringing up something about being on drugs. They were bringing up something about, about a person that I'd had an accident with. Anything that could cause me to be degraded. And then he'd come home from work. Oh, hi, honey, I'm home. And what's for dinner? Used me even when I went through all my money and got on state funding. I was the one expected to pay for the groceries. I was the one expected to do this back, and I had done that my whole life. So this was while they were sitting there siphoning things out of everything I owned, they stole everything I had. And he wasn't even at work the whole time. He was part of the stalking on me. This is what's so terrible. And yes, they're government programs. Yes, the same technology is used. But when they actually recruit people to be part of this gang stalking, and it's your own ex-husband, it's and it's about money. It's about things that you never had fought for. They're accusing you, persecuting you like this. You got to open your eyes and get the hell out of wherever you are, because it's not a good situation. And when it tries to drive you to drinking, to drugs, and to suicide, it is the worst thing in the world. Gaji, you and I talked about this. Anything that can actually cause you to feel like you're going to do self-harm to yourself, you need to get a grip on it, because it's something that is sinister. It's something that's not right. And I hate to say it, but the rate of suicide nowadays and people wanting people to do self-harm because of this technology has risen so alarmingly that it's made me open my eyes up to how many people have actually gotten incarcerated, incapacitated, been institutionalized, or been unable to actually get a grip on what's happened to them, so they end up homeless on the streets. And this happened to me, honey. I mean, I had to go after social services, and then when I tried to get social services from the city that I was born in, El Paso, Texas, and actually went to people that I knew personally and asked for help, and all of a sudden they start gaslighting me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I look into my criminal history, and I pull it up on something, and I saw that they had smear campaigned my criminal history. Sure, I had a few marijuana charges and a few smaller things in my lifetime, but they made it look like I was Bonnie and Clyde times 10. And I'm looking at this going, what in the hell is going on with this? Wrong birth dates, change this, change that. And I'm thinking, what happened to the attorneys I hired when I had my deferred probation and completed it? And what happened to the people that were associated with my dad that was a retired county judge and chairman of the Texas Rangers Law Enforcement Association Foundation when I went to them for help, and all of a sudden they stopped talking to me? I thought, okay, there's something going on. So, that's just screaming TSDB. Somebody has put your name in there, and I thought, okay, so what am I going to do about this? I started talking to – I've still had a very small group of friends that I will always consider friends, but people that I've known a whole lifetime were looking at me, would not answer me, even on Facebook, even in person. I'd leave messages, and people wouldn't call me back. And I thought, what in the world happened? Because I've always been somebody that took care of people my whole life. I was always the one that helped people with their bills. I was always the one that helped people with everything. And like I said a little earlier on Facebook, I posted something, and it meant a lot more to me at that moment than I can even tell you. But I was looking for something that I could actually say on there, and it was like, hold on just a second. I got to pull this up so that I can actually say it the correct way. Now, don't you know Facebook is pulling up here? But it's talking about your enemies are not your friends. Your enemies were not your friends. Or how did it say? Your friends are not your enemies. It's just your enemies that finally decided to stop being your friends.
Okay.
And it's very disturbing because when it comes to financial gain of any sort, especially with the honeypots, they'll do everything they can to ruin you and have their hands clean and say, oh, we didn't do anything. We don't know anything about this. But it happens over and over and over again. I have a friend also that I have been advocating to that her life has been completely wrecked because they come back and they go, oh, you're a pedophile. You do this. You do that. And they trigger her with words on a computer screen. And this is something that brought me with other people together to talk about the online trigger words, how they can get the information. I said, it's smart devices. They see what you're thinking. They can see what you're thinking. They know what they need to post on there, and it triggers you. And that's supposed to cause you to want to lash out, run to the police, seem like you have psychosis, like you have schizophrenia, like you're out of your mind. I've heard so many people say, oh, this man came back into my life I haven't seen for years, and he's wonderful. And then 3 weeks later, I get a call from him and say, I don't know what's wrong with him. There's something really different and strange. I'm like, get him out of your house. Mm-hmm. Get him out of your house and get him out of your life because he's there for one reason, and that's to break you emotionally, break you physically, break you financially, and to leave you in ruin, because I've been through it myself, and I'm a perfect example of what you need to do to get the hell out, get your life together, and then go after it after you get yourself grounded, because when you're going through this kind of torture, it's practically impossible to get yourself to where you feel like you can actually face it because you don't understand where it comes from. All of a sudden, you've got voices coming in your head. Minute you mention that, they're like, oh, she has mental problems. You know, you need to stay away from her. She's a little crazy. They target you. You get pulled over by the police. It's constant stalking. And I got stalked to a point.
Let me say this, Autumn, about, because you mentioned suicide, and I just don't want to leave that so easily.
Oh no.
Because I just want to say that if anyone feels really down, because so many TIs are isolated, and I think that one of the most empowering things that we're doing is creating connections, creating lifelong friendships, and meeting people and supporting people and sharing information, shielding, and other things where we can help one another. And that is so important that we keep doing that. And if anyone feels down or has any kind of suicidal thoughts or anything, please reach out to someone. Reach out to the suicide hotline.
Reach out to me.
Reach out to Autumn. Okay, tell them how to reach out to you.
I'm telling you 100%. I have no problem putting my phone number out there because I have people, as you know, GoGi, that call me constantly.
All the time. But I would prefer them to send me an email, the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, and I will get you in touch with Autumn. I for some reason, I just do that on this line, and
awesome.
She will. I know for sure, because I'm an eyewitness, that she will take the time that you need to talk about whatever you're going through and to help you through it. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm trust me, I am the best listener, but I guarantee you I will give you a reason to live and to want to live, and to never ever consider that, because it absolutely kills me that I got to that point myself, and it makes me very happy when I'm able to help somebody realize what's happening to them and to realize that it's not, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because there is. There's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel right now.
You're a great example of that, Autumn. And I just we already have questions in queue. So what I would like you to do is just give us a few more, give them a few more signs of, let's say 3 signs of a honeypot, and then we're going to take the questions, the Q&A.
Okay, 3 more signs of a honeypot. Threatening messages to you if you leave the house for any amount of time, and suddenly you get very threatening messages or degrading messages. Or if you start feeling unsafe in the bedroom, and when I say that, in my instance, I was forced into sex acts and things of that sort that I was not comfortable with. And I ended up sleeping on a couch in the other room for a month. And during that period of time, I had the voice-to-skull technology coming through and caused me to literally think that, the entire world was coming after, and I was literally half blind at the time and still am. But my vision, thank God, I got back in one eye by the grace of God. But to have that happening and be at odds with somebody, it is the most horrible feeling. And then to make you feel like you are less than in any way, less than the person that has used you financially, sexually, every way in the world. If you can't be equal partners, you need to really look at it and see if it's a honeypot. If you notice that your belongings have been gone through, and you can't explain it, that's a big sign. In my case, my ex-boyfriend wanted me to wear clothes that belonged to his previous girlfriend. We wore the same shoe size, the same clothes size. And
wow.
Number one, you've seen my knees, Gaji. I can't hardly walk anyways. And she wore hooker heels, as I call them, the stripper heels with the big, 7-inch heels on them. That
wow.
Have,
you're already tall. You're 6'1".
Yeah, I'm already 6'1", and I put those on, and he was like 6'5" or 6'6". So,
okay.
But I couldn't walk in them because my knees were so crooked.
Right.
But he wanted me to wear things that were hers, jewelry that was hers, and it was like, and then just little things that were so irritating, like, I enjoyed dinner, but it would have been better if you'd have done it this way. And I'm a great cook,
right.
or
I've yet to find out. I've yet to find out.
Yeah,
but no.
But I'll tell you right now, Gaji's a great cook. He makes good chicken.
All right, so we're going to start with the questions, and you can continue to share as we talk to the people in queue. All right, so let's hear the questions. Thank you so much for coming on the call. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing about honeypot relationships.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
You're my soul sister. You know that. I love you.
Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, before we do that, let's hear. We were playing around with this song, and we did a version of it. Let's hear. Sir Dan, can you play a little bit of that? And it's lower than I like, but and then that I can handle. But let's hear a little bit of that, and then we're going to take the first question in queue. Song first.
Yes.
Okay. This is for the good times. For the good times. Maybe it's not playing. If it's not playing, it's okay.
The window and make believe you love me much more than for the good time.
Okay, not the best audio, but you get it, guys.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, we had fun. Thank
you. Yeah. Thank you, Sir Dan. Yeah. Well, we'll see what we have time for a little later. All right, so first question, please. Sure, ma'am, you're up.
Area code 703, you're up first.
Thank you, Tranquility.
Oh, maybe that's me.
Yeah, that's you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? So I have a question about the honeypot. Can a honeypot be a man? And do you think that even if you aren't a baiter, like, like a lot of the dangerous men, a lot of the perpetrators are online and the dating stuff, online dating and all that. Do you think that a woman who becomes a victim that's a TI would essentially become a honeypot because she would know too much information being a TI, and then she could be a dangerous person to a new partner? 2 questions there.
Okay, so your first one is, can the honeypot be a man? Absolutely. A honeypot can be a man, it can be a woman. So they're, assigned to someone to seduce or to get involved in a relationship, and it's an assignment, not not something that they are in their heart decided to pursue. So yes, it can be a man or a woman. And your second one seems to be, can a person turn into a honeypot? Is that what you're saying? Okay, remember, first of all, a honeypot is working for the government criminals. They're working for the criminals. Right. Okay, so a person doesn't decide to just, they're just men and women who use each other, period, right? But a honeypot is working with the criminals against you.
Okay, so
you mentioned something too. You mentioned something too about online. I think I've probably had at least 50 men that claim to have either lost their wives to cancer and have one child, usually mid-aged child, but always a divorced or widowed man. And they have they come out by the droves. And I have no interest in having a relationship after what I went through, but I think that they do come after you online. I think it's like they put something out there that says, this person is a targeted individual. Please do everything you can to keep them busy. And they always end up being false people. I can't tell you how many on LinkedIn I met that suddenly came up, LinkedIn member, And I made it very clear that I was not looking for a relationship online, but I do believe that they do target women and target men as well online with honeypots that are not real people.
Yeah. Okay. Did we answer your? Go ahead. Did we answer your question?
Well, yes. I think that one of my concerns was that just being a TI, we learn so much information. We do so much research on our own. We have endless amounts of opportunities to learn and grow once we become TIs. Some of it's to our own detriment, but some of it is for greater awareness. And I myself, I've been put out like months and months on end out of work because of, all the information just kind of, figuring all this out. So I guess what I was concerned with was how we would appear as a targeted person. If we were trying to form a new healthy relationship, we might actually appear like we are one of the dangerous perpetrators, because we would have so much information that if we were to date someone, it might not be safe for the other person.
I see what you're saying. So yeah. You're saying that you're so well versed in what a TI is that someone dating and we call it Anna Toledo's attorney Anna's term, normie, dating someone that's not a TI might think that you're stalking them because all of a sudden they're being stalked at home, or somebody's following them, or they see what's going on with you and they think it's you. That could absolutely happen. I mean, not that you become a honeypot, but a person that is not a TI may not understand, and they may associate you with this evil, and so they may not want a relationship with you because they don't want they don't want what it entails. Okay, and they get to decide that, and the earlier the better, before you get all involved and they just drop kick you, or better, even worse, the they approach them and they start becoming your honeypot. So, you know, it's good to discern or to keep a little distance until you know that person can handle being in a relationship with a TI, because it's a big thing. It's a big deal.
I mean, ultimately,
I think something that's really important to realize is never refriend or refamily a person who tried to destroy your character, your money, your relationships, because a snake only sheds its skin to be a bigger snake.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. I'm not sure about that one, but thank you. That was good for me. I can forgive it. Let me see how I want to say this. I think it's important to forgive people, and yes, I agree that you need to reposition them, but you'll know based on the reasons that they give what they did, whether you want to bring them back or not. That's all. Because they're, you know, if they have something that they would said this to me, and they, you know, I don't know. So there are exceptions, but I get what you're saying, Autumn. All right, guys. Thank you. We're going to move to the next question, the next caller. Thank you so much for your question. And the best of everything with relationships, it's hard being a TI and in love, or even trying to date, or being married. It's ridiculous.
Sandy, you're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Is that Sandy playing that music?
Sandy, Miss I Shall Bloom.
Is that Sandy?
Should I move on to the next caller?
What is she playing, a song, or what's going on? Or she just breaking up?
I don't know. Sandy?
Oh, okay. All right, you can move on. We can come back to her. I don't know what that is. Maybe she's playing a song.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Yes, we can.
Okay. I was wondering, can we get, like, everybody who has had a doctor cooperate with them or not think they're crazy? Like, can we make a database of those doctors?
I love it. Great question, Jennifer. Yes, we can, and there's one. No, let me stop. But, you know, you're right. Maybe people know about doctors who have cooperated, so we can absolutely, that can go to the resource, the J.A.M. resource book as well, to that email address. If you send it there, then we can start with that. But I'm going to tell you.
What is that email?
Tranquility, we'll give it to you by the end of the call. I think it's the J.A.M. resource book at proton.me. But I want to make sure you have it exactly right. But I'm going to be very strict with that. If we put their name down, we're going to want you to show and prove that it's really a good doctor. Now, the only one that we have that I know is friendly, TI friendly. Well, we know Dr. Stella Emanuel, who is in Houston, Texas, and she's a general practitioner, from my understanding. And we know in terms of psychiatrists, psychiatrists, we have Dr. Linda Pimenta. So we have a few doctors that we know are TI friendly. So,
can we suggest that any TIs, if y'all have doctors that have not told you you're crazy, even about just radiation, about any of it, just to get that email and report it so that we can start a database so each state can have, you know what I'm saying, if we have any doctors.
I love it.
I'm not going to travel out of state because I can't afford to, but I will definitely, if there's somebody in my state that even if they're far on the other side of the state, I'll go there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just having trouble finding anybody to understand what we're going through.
I understand. Thank you. Good
question.
Thanks. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Next caller, please. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Diane from Buffalo, New York. How are you?
Fine, Diane. How are you?
Hi, Diane.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, I got a 14-day eviction notice at my daughter's house. Even though I've been paying part of the rent or whatever, they want me out. So I just want the TI community to pray for me because I have a 39-year-old son who I think is experienced B2K. We're going to be into the streets. So if anybody has apartments anywhere around the country that we can come to, that I can rent, because I'm being blocked from apartments here. So I'm just asking for your prayers, and if I could post anything, how would I post it that I need help with housing in the TI community?
Good question. All right. You're willing to go anywhere, and you're interested. Okay, so first of all, you can send me an email at the Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, and I'll check with who I know. And I don't know if Tranquility, do you have anything on TI events or maybe TI streets? I don't know which one, who has anything that would help with that.
Because not just being attacked, but see, these people can block housing. They can call before I get there, things like this, because they want me out of the city. So I'm really faced with something. I can't see me and him standing in the street with nowhere to go. And last time we spent up all our money with hotels, but that didn't work. It ran into $10,000 or more that's being out there. So I'm just at my wit's end with this. Today I had to call the FBI because I was so fed up with the stalking, with the gang stalking, with the police, fire department. I called the FBI and I'm waiting. They said, well, they all tried it. They said, well, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? I said, because I see them every time I step out. That's how I know. I see them every time I step out. They drive past me. They throw sirens or whatever. But she sort of knew that I was telling the truth, but she could not really say, okay, well, no. But I did give the information to the FBI today. I had to, because that's how severe the attacks are and the gang stuff is.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, you did what you felt you needed to do. And, yes, send me the email, and then and we'll see. And sometimes before we get off, someone answers the question. So let's go.
Okay.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hi, GoGi.
Yes.
Jennifer just put a message into the chat, and she said she recommends Diane to get in touch with housing authorities.
Not here. Not here. They won't let me in because of the last house.
She said fill out applications online for as many housing authorities waiting lists as you can. And she also suggested to try another state.
Yes, different states is what she's saying, Diane. All over the place.
Different states. Yeah, I understand that. But sometimes they block that up too. Like I had one in Florida, and they played around, Fort Myers, Florida, and they played around with that. But I'll try again. Like I said, I do have a little widow's pension, so I'm able to pay some type of rent somewhere.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next caller, please.
Hi, Adam. God bless you. This is Sister Samia. I really don't have a question, but I do just want to say to you, thank you so much for coming on the call, for being just so courageous to share your story and to speak up and speak out about this, because truly you're an example of when someone does you wrong, that you're still determined to be strong. And so I just want to say that to you, and my prayers are with you. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you, too. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Samia. Okay,
Awesome.
Next.
Yay.
That was
Hello?
really nice. Hi, how are you?
Hi, this is Chris from Idaho. How are you guys?
Hi, Chris from Idaho. Now we can put a face with the voice.
Yes, you can. Yeah, great call, by the way.
Sweet note.
Oh,
I just got your sweet note. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks for sharing info. I have a question about the honeypot. 2 years, just briefly, 2 years ago, I was set up by a group of what I thought were friends at the time, and with this guy who is totally, my type of guy, totally attracted to, first person I've dated since I got a divorce. And then, like usual, things were kind of strange. He was only contacting me. He was a pilot. He was only contacting me on and off at whenever it was convenient for him. But things weren't adding up bit by bit, and I couldn't really figure it out. Didn't know what the honeypot was at that time. So now, fast forward to present day, we went out for about a year and a half on and off. And so my question is...
Wait a minute, Chris. Is that the noise in your background, or I hear somebody else?
No.
Okay,
no.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
My question is, not so long ago, I hadn't heard from him in like almost 5 months, and out of the blue he called, and I could tell he had been drinking, and he wanted to come pick me up. And of course it was always late at night, and then by now I had figured the whole thing out, and it disgusted me. But when he called, he was like, oh, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. You're such a strong person, and I really want to get together tonight. But my question is, I came this close to having him come pick me up because I wanted to tell him the truth of what I knew. And, how could you do that? And so I didn't do it, but I feel like sometime in the future he's going to call. Should I confront somebody like that and tell him exactly what I know, or just keep my mouth shut and just say bye-bye? I mean, it's okay. I want you to know that I know.
You want him to know that you know that he's a honeypot?
Yeah, but do I pretend like I don't know and just, because when he called and all of a sudden he says, oh, you've done so well, you've changed, I go, I haven't changed, I'm the same person, and he kept saying how strong you are and building me up, and he wanted me to come pick me up. But I almost let him because I wanted to tell him what a sick idiot, jerk that he was. But yet, but yet I didn't. I wanted to control it, so I didn't have him. But does the person confront somebody?
It's to me, it's about resolution with, working it out within yourself. Like if you're at peace with it, then I would move on. But if you want to tell him, why do you want to hurt him? You want to get him back? Like what does that come? Where does that come from?
I just want him to know that he is. He always was, saying such nice words, but yet breathing fire through his nose. He's the devil, but yet he was always stroking me up and stuff. And I want him to know, God sees everything, and your day's coming. You can't say one thing and then breathe the devil through your nose.
Absolutely.
So
I can relate.
I don't think you have to go with him though, Chris. I don't think you have to go with him, but you could certainly tell him on the phone. Like when he calls next time. Right. I wouldn't do that.
I feel like somebody should know that I'm not. I know your game now, and I just thought, I don't know, do I just not say anything? But yet he was so horrible, now that I know what game it was, and it's devastating, when you find out, and it's I want it in some ways.
If you ever do confront him, you need to make sure you have somebody like my Rob Montez with you. who is my spine and my backbone. This man has loved me my whole life, and we dated years and years ago, but he turned out to be the best friend I ever had in my life. You need to make sure, and became a targeted individual in the process, okay? But you need to make sure you got a Rob Montez there if you ever do confront him that'll back you up.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to do it in
Rob's for hire. You just need to pay for a plane ticket.
That's funny.
But I'm serious, honey. You need to have somebody like him behind you, because this man is a god when it comes. I mean, and he's been targeted every way in the world, but he still has been. You talk about if my ex-husband or my ex-boyfriend took one step towards me, he would break them in two.
I mean, I think they live with their own hell. You know, that their own hell.
I know, right?
Because, you know, but yet some little piece of me wants me to get my word in, you know. But then I thought, no, just control your voice, Chris, you know. But I don't know. I didn't know if you should just keep your mouth shut and be the strong person and realize how
sometimes that's better.
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
better, Chris.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's better if you can just hold it in and go away. But if it's eating at you and you just have to say it, then say it. You know, then say it. Do what's inside you. But you certainly don't have to go with him. Let him pick you up to go anywhere to say it. Mm-hmm.
No,
I wouldn't
never
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No.
All right. So I hope that if you get the opportunity, you know, like they say, if you want to sit it out or dance, then dance. If you get the opportunity, go ahead and say it. You know, and you can say
you know,
I need to send Rob to you.
And plus he's quite religious, and it goes against his religious background. And so, you know, there's another thing, you know, and it's just like,
oh, God.
He's of the Mormon faith.
Oh, lovely.
And, yeah.
Lovely.
And so, you know, at some point, I just feel like I want to belittle him so much for what he did to me. But yet I still want to be strong, and maybe the strong person is not to say anything, you know. So I didn't know. I just was getting some
Sometimes
feedback
that's
here.
stronger, Chris. Sometimes that's a lot stronger. But always remember, Rob is for hire. All you have to do is get a plane ticket. He's a good one for it, honey.
You.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this as you leave, Chris. I remember there was this movie, and the person, you know, they took all their husbands' clothes and burned them up and this and that, or no, sold them for $1 or something like that. Put everything on the sidewalk and sold everything for $1. Beautiful, very expensive name brand stuff. And they would say, well, what? And the ladies were like, well, why did you do that? They said, because it felt good. And sometimes you just want to do what feels good, you know, like I just But, you know, so whatever.
It's 50 cents per Versace.
Right. Exactly. His favorite shirt. I'm gonna sell it for $1 or 50 cents. I love it. So, but whatever you can feel good to resolve that, and just do it safely. Thank you for your call.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your friendship. Okay.
We love you, Chris from Idaho.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm so glad to meet everybody.
It's been a pleasure. Next caller, please.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? My name is Sharice Morgan, and I guess I just have a question. Now, I just realized this year what the name was that I was going through. You know, I thought I was going crazy, you know, and I even, you know, I have a 16-year-old. I've been on dialysis for like 24 years now. My daughter's 16 years old, and, you know, thoughts of hurting myself and stuff like that came through my mind, but I always remember what my father said. He always taught me about the Bible. And I just don't understand how you got people out here that's doing that type of mess to people that's not even want. Why? I need to know, because I was dealing with this guy, and when you are a female that's been on dialysis, it's easier for a man to get a woman to understand than a woman to get a man to understand, because the man look at it like you're a liability, and I ain't never need a guy for anything. I took care of what I had to take care. I take care of my daughter, but they always look at you like that. And I had met this guy, and he was an older guy at that time. He's older than me, like maybe 10 years at that time, but he had did like 27 years in jail, and I was wondering why, but because I wanted a friendship so bad, I kind of like overlooked stuff. It gave people the benefit of the doubt. But when he did something that disrespect my daughter was 6 years at the time, and I had asked him to take me to the store to pick up my medication. So, and at that time, I knew about 3-4 months. I said, can you pull up and I'll run in to get my medication? I said, I'm going to leave my daughter right here. I'm going to run in to get my medication, come back. Well, when I came outside, he had pulled over to the parking lot. And usually he pulled around and he picked me up in front of the store. So at this time, I was waving him down. I started to walk to the car. And he's having my daughter at that age, 6 years old, rubbing his hand. And I'm looking down, and I'm like, hey, he was so engrossed in that. And I'm looking like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. And I said, wait a minute, hold on. What are you doing? Why is she rubbing your hand? You're not her father. First, then he's going to tell me, well, what's wrong with that? I said, man, it's a lot wrong with that. So when I got back home, I had to drill into my daughter so much to see what actually happened. And he had shut my daughter down that quick. Because, like I said, it happened like maybe 20 minutes. And I had to actually bring somebody in from my family to tell her how a real man is supposed to treat and act towards a young lady. And that's only when she broke down and started telling me what was he saying to her. And my thing is this, when I finally stopped messing with him and he thought that he couldn't disrespect me, or I wasn't one of those type of women that's going to sit around and let you just touch my daughter inappropriately and just turn my head. No, I'm not going to do that. So then that's when all the stuff just started hitting the fan. And I have like people watching me, or I have doctors that's giving me like wrong just doing mean things to me because I'm on dialysis, and I rely on this machine to clean my blood. So it's like, what do I do? I mean, because I can't. I'm 40, be 50 soon.
Okay, all right, Cherise. So first of all, thank you for sharing. And you're basically saying after you pushed back for his behavior, you became targeted. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to take this offline. We'll probably both talk to you for a little bit, and then, one of us will continue talking with you. Okay, so do you have access to email?
Yes.
Okay, please email me at thejusticeactionmeeting@proton.me.
Okay.
It's a very evil program, and so you need to know what you're up against. The Justice Action Meeting at proton.me, and we will talk to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for joining the J.A.M. And thank you. Mm-hmm. So we have about 7 minutes left, because after that we're in preparation for the watch party. Okay, so we're going to, now it's 6 minutes. So it's a firm 7:45, I'm told, because there's no way I'm carrying on this call by myself. This is too hot. So if we have to, we'll have part 2 next week. Okay, so let's try to clear the queue, and let's take the questions quicker, and let's go. Go ahead. Next caller, please.
Hi, this is Ronnie. How are y'all doing?
Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Pretty good. I had a quick question to ask. I know the lady asked earlier, but I'm not sure I heard the response. She was asking for the list of doctors that have worked with targeted. Is there a list created and that is out there provided to us?
No, there's no list created. I know Targeted Justice has some doctors on the advisory board and board, but there's no list that I'm aware of. So we're talking about starting a database. So if you know any, please send the information in, and we'll begin a spreadsheet and database with that information.
Okay.
And particularly, she wanted mental health, but we'll do it for whatever you send. Okay? We're doing it for resources. All right? Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Okay. Next caller, please. And if we do it very quickly, I could get no one else join the queue, please.
Hello?
We're going to. Hi, how are you? Yes.
Hi. I had asked a question earlier about the honeypot. I just wanted to provide some information for the caller who was needing help with housing.
Mhm.
So there's this guy on YouTube, and I don't recommend YouTube unless you're a really strong TI. But there's a guy named Lefko, and he does these government grant things, these little infomercials. And there is a place called findhelp.org, and you can type in your zip code, and you can find help with all sorts of resources, government grants on, for housing, for schooling, for utilities, for, food, whatever it is that you need. You just got to kind of scroll through. But just wanted to share that.
That is a very viable source. That is a great website, and I had somebody that's a very reputable person tell me about that too.
Yeah.
Findhelp.org, and the other person that was Lefko, is it Lefko?
It's Lefko, but he's the one who advertises for the government grants. He's a senior. Yeah, but it's findhelp.org. But he also has a website. I'm not quite sure what that is.
Yeah,
so
that
we'll
costs
Google.
like $19.99, and he tries to find you grants for anything. He's pretty open, and he's like 80-something years old.
Right, right, yeah, Sora.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him.
All right, I gotta rush you guys because I'm gonna lose my help. So we have 3 minutes. Thank you so much for that. We have 2 people. Let's try to get these 2 questions in 3 minutes, and then we're out. Go ahead. Next caller, please.
Hi, it's Ann from St. Louis, state contact for Missouri. May I give my contact information? Because I want to be able to help you with your you're looking for soup kitchens and that. I'd love to be able to help you with that.
Please do.
Okay.
So what are you giving? What are you giving me? Send me an email to the Justice Act. Oh, can you send me an email? Okay, give me your information.
I actually
can
send you an email.
Good.
Okay.
Please.
All right. We'll do that.
The
All right.
Justice Act. Thank you, Ann.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
All right. Next caller, please. 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes.
Gotcha, you're all set.
Oh, thank you. We cleared the line, everybody. Open up. Let's say good night. And I'm going to tell you to please.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Please.
Thank you.
Good night, all. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed the call. Thank you for joining the J.A.M tonight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you
one.
for joining the J.A.M. Yes.
Good night.
I hope you all watch the debate. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, all. Good night.
I love you, soul sisters.
Night.
Thanks for joining the J.A.M, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night,
everybody.
All right.
Good night, everybody.